What's up, YouTube? Mishlemisy here, and today we're going to share some fun lore of Diablo 2 that you may not have known, and kind of about the creation of Diablo 2. So, back when Diablo 2 was being developed, there was a lot of hectic, crazy work going on, and they were behind. This was back in 99. They were trying to release by the end of 99, by Christmas, and this was probably back around like March, April, something like that. They realized they probably weren't going to get there, and they had too much content set in. So they actually cut the Act 4 of the time and just completely removed it. And the Act 4 that we know of today is now the Act, or was Act 5 back then. And then they also cut down that Act 5, now Act 4, into just the 3 areas and 3 quests, because they, again, were on even more time crunch. So they cut out like the act and a half when doing so. So the question then was, that I didn't know until just now, was what was the theme of the old Act 4? Was it the current Act 5? Was it something else? Were they trying to have that be a different piece? Who knows? We now know. I just talked to Phil Schenk, and he says the following. I'm going to read this for the first time for myself as for you. He says, Act 4 was always going to be snow, ice, etc., so it was a natural transition to the Ariat expansion setting. There is an artist, Ben Booz, who is doing early snow exploration, but it wasn't really coming together anyways. The pressure was on, it became clear it wasn't going to happen for the D2 release. At the time I had started working on an expansion design, this was all happening together, so the realization that the missing act wasn't going to happen was also an opportunity for an expansion. If I remember correctly, it just kind of clicked for me. Expansion would be set in the barbarian homeland, which would now be the now invented Mount Ariat. From there, it also clicked we could use Baal as the expansion boss. At some point, I got the idea for the World Stone and the whole brothers fake out retcon idea. It was a trick to send the players to hell in Act 5 so Baal could go corrupt the World Stone. To be honest, it was one of, if not my favorite memories in game dev, everything coming together kind of magically. Nobody cared about the story, so I was just left to come up with stuff on my own. So that right there is the piece. So it seems like they didn't even have a boss set out for it yet. But it was going to be Act 5 prior to Act 4 there. I wonder if it would have been Belial or someone along those lines. I guess that piece was not really set whatsoever. But afterwards, he decided, okay, we'll do Diablo at the end here of Act 4, make Act 5, and we have the game as is today. So I just thought that was a really interesting piece to share along, because I thought it was something that very few of you probably know, right? The fact that Act 5 was actually going to be before Act 4, and that we literally have an entire act cut from the base game, which now, of course, is the expansion and all of that. And they got that out pretty quickly, right? Because Diablo 2 came out in 2000, June 2000, and then a year later, Lord of Destruction came out, and they had the 5th act, they had the 2 additional characters, they had the rune words and other pieces that they really brought into the game, and there was a lot of changes that came around in that first year, so to get that expansion. So it was pretty impressive how much that pushed over there, and also, of course, made me think about just how it existed and the dev process and all of that. You read somewhere that Rakinishu was named after an employee sneezed? Yeah. So Matt Ullman sat next to David Brevik. They had offices next to each other, and he sneezed really loud. And one day he sneezed and was like, and Matt Ullman heard Rakinishu, and they decided to name Rakinishu after David Brevik's sneeze. So that's where that name comes from. There's a lot of fun, like, little cute lore about the dev of the game and all of that stuff, which is just really funny. But anyways, this was Lore with Llama. I just wanted to share a fun little tidbit because I thought it was really cool. I thought that was something that, again, not many people would know. So, don't forget to like and subscribe, YouTube. Peace, everybody.